Hi, this is Bhavya, Assistant Professor, Department of Biochemistry from Mahalakshmi Women's College of Arts and Science. I hereby open the session with all my heartfelt thanks to our principal, Dr. N. Booma ma'am, for providing this wonderful opportunity during this quarantine. Welcome you all to the session of immunotherapy. Immunotherapy works with the basis of immune system. Really, we wouldn't be able to talk about immunotherapy without at least mentioning about immunology and immune system. Let we have a look on basic concepts of immunology. Immunology is a branch of science that deals with the study of immune system in all organisms. It helps us to learn how our body fights against infections and development of medical interventions to treat and prevent disease. The three basic terms in immunology are immunity, immune system, and immune response. What is immunity? Immunity is resistance to infection. It's a balanced state of all multicellular organisms. Even in this pandemic condition, it is most necessary that we all people need to have immunity to resist COVID-19. The two types of immunity are less specific or innate immunity and more specific or adaptive immunity. Innate immunity is the first line of defense against infection. It gives rapid response that occurs within minutes. It's not specific to any particular pathogen. It has no memory and does not confer long-lasting immunity. Some of the innate barriers are skin, mucus, cilia, enzymes present, phagocytes, neutrophils, and some other cells too. Most of the immune system is close to outside world. Skin is main barrier of outside world and inside world. If you have cut or sore on the skin which has so much of immune cells will communicate via lymphatic vessel to the cells present deeper inside the skin. Adaptive immunity provides specific immune response directed at an invading pathogen. On exposure to foreign organism, there is an initial effector response that eliminate or neutralize pathogen. Later, re-exposure to the same foreign organism induces memory response with more rapid immune reaction that eliminates the pathogen. We look on to immune system. It's a complex network of cells, organs, and tissues. It's a defense system that protects against disease. A healthy immune system can defeat any invading pathogens. The organs of the immune system are thymus. Thymus is the organ located in the upper chest. This is the place where mature T lymphocytes are formed. Bone marrow. It is the location where all cells of immune systems arise. All immune systems arises from the primitive stem cell here. Tonsils. Tonsils are the collections of lymphocytes in the throat. Tonsils are rich in B cells. Lymph nodes, they are the collections of B cells and T cells present throughout the body. Cells congregate in lymph nodes to communicate with each other. Spleen, it is a collection of T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes, and monocytes. It serves in filtering the organisms out of the blood, and it provides a site for organisms and cells of the immune system to interact. Peyer's patch is present in the gut. We eat 3 times meals every day. We can have lot of bacteria and viruses present in the food that can enter onto the body. Gut is the largest immune organ with lot of cells where the primitive destruction of organisms occurs. Immune response, the reactions of cells and fluids which occur within organism to defend against foreign invaders. The immune response can be either specific or non-specific. Development of cells of immune system begins in bone marrow with the formation of hematopoietic stem cell. It is a specialized cell from which all other cells arise. Because of its ability, it is most important in bone marrow transplantation too. Hematopoietic stem cells are divided into lymphoid cell, myeloid cell, and erythroid cells. Erythroid cells further differentiate and produces red blood cells and platelets. White blood cells are produced from myeloid cells. The most important cells of the immune system, B cell, T cell, and natural killer cells, arise from lymphoid cells. B cells. B cells are called B lymphocytes. They develop in bone marrow from the stem cell. After maturation, B cells are found in bone marrow, lymph nodes, spleen, and some areas of intestine and the bloodstream. B cells encounters the foreign material, and after maturation it forms another cell type called plasma cell and the memory cell. B cells are trained to recognize the protein on the surface of the cell. T cells. T cells are also called T lymphocytes. It develops from stem cell and mature in the thymus. Mature T cells leave thymus and populate on the other organs of the immune system like spleen, lymph node, bone marrow, and the blood. T cells are of different types. T helper cell, we call it as TH cell. T cytotoxic cell, or we call it as TC cell, and T regulatory cells. The three types of cells are T helper, T cytotoxic, and T regulatory cells. Cytotoxic T cells perform actual destruction of infected cell. Helper T cell, it assists B cell to produce antibodies. Regulatory T cell, it suppress or turn the T lymphocytes. T cells can recognize protein not on the surface of the cell, but anything within the cell. Natural killer cell. They are named because they easily kill cells infected with the virus. They are derived from bone marrow and present in low numbers in the bloodstream and in tissues. Dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are also called as antigen-presenting cells. Dendritic cells and macrophages are members of mononuclear phagocytic system. These two, the dendritic and the macrophages, which are the antigen-presenting cell, they exhibit multiple function during immune response. Macrophage, it helps in the clearance of apoptic cells, cellular debris, and pathogens. We need immune system. Why do we need immune system? Immune system needs to protect us from external facts that we get exposed to. Immune system decides whether the external factors are dangerous or not. These external factors are called antigens. They are bacteria, virus, carcinogens, fungi, parasites, pollution molecules, and some toxins. Example, in case of E. coli, if you are taking contaminated food of E. coli, you will get very serious infection can lead to even death, more commonly bladder infection. Same as in case of pollution, all kinds of pollution can really start our immune system make into action. Immune system respond to the polluted molecules if inhaled. When an antigen enters on your human body, it stimulates some chemical and mechanical activities. This induces the production of antibodies. Antibodies are also called immunoglobulins. They are proteins produced by the plasma cells. Antibodies are Y-shaped structures. There are different types of immunoglobulins like immunoglobulin A, D, E, G, and M. It has high specificity to the antigen. Antibodies will interact with the antigen and has ability to fight against the antigen and kill them. As you can see in the picture, the green-shaped molecules are antigens and the surrounding Y-shaped structures are antibodies. The two processes by which antigens are eliminated from human body naturally are humoral immune response and cell-mediated immune response. Humoral immunity is so named because it involves substances found in humor or in body fluids. Since it involves antibodies, it is also called as antibody-mediated immunity. The three steps in humoral immunity are B cell activation, B cell proliferation, and antigen-antibody reaction. Let us look into the picture. What happens in humoral immune response? When antigen enters into human body, B cells are triggered and the B cells binds with the antigen with its receptor. Then the B cells will engulf the antigen and digest them. The digested antigens are bound to MHC molecules. Antigen with its MHC molecules are presented to T helper cells. they are attracted by the T helper cells. T helper cell will trigger the B cell, proliferates them and produces plasma cells and memory cells. Plasma cells will secrete antibodies. The antibodies binds to the antigen and get released into the bloodstream. The bound antigen-antibody complex are completely cleared by the complement, which are serum proteins. Phagocytosis is also called cell eating. Phagocytosis is the process carried out by the antigen-presenting cells. Antigen-presenting cells participate in the immune response. Hence, you should know what steps occurs during phagocytosis. So, as a first step of phagocytosis, here the microbes or other particles get attached to the plasma membrane of the phagocyte. The plasma membrane will engulf the antigen and forms phagosomes. The phagosome fuses with the lysosome and forms phagolysosome. Phagolysosome has enzymes which can digest the ingested bacteria. The residuals of the digested microbes will be then discharged out. This is process of phagocytosis. Cell-mediated immune response. It does not involve antibodies. Here the self cells or the antigen-presenting cells will display the foreign antigen to the T cell. Interleukin secreted by the antigen-presenting cells will co-stimulate the activation of T cell. Here MHC molecules, which are the major histocompatibility molecules, will determine the type of T cell response. When MHC class 2 and endogenous antigens are displayed, T cells will proliferate and they produces T helper cells. T helper cells will release cytokines which stimulate the B cell to produce antibodies. In case of MHC class 1 and endogenous antigens are displayed, T cells proliferate and produces T killer cells. This T killer cells can directly destroy the infected cells. You can see the step in detail in the next picture. The two populations of T cell have different mechanism of immune protection, but both will bind MHC molecules via the antigen receptor called T cell receptor. The T cell receptors are CD4 and CD8. When MHC class 2 molecules present the antigen to the CD4 T cells, activation of T helper cells occurs. So T helper cells, you know, already I told you, the T helper cells will stimulate B cells and the B cells proliferate and produces plasma cells. Plasma cells will produce antibodies which can digest the antigen. And if in case of MHC class 1 and MHC class 1 molecules will present the antigen to CD8 T cells, it will stimulate the proliferation of T cytotoxic cell. These T cytotoxic cells can directly kill the infected cells. If you have an infection, either bacterial pieces or antigen presenting cell present in the area taking up the pieces will go to the draining lymph node and present them to T cell and B cell, and they get activated. They travel through the lymphatic system back into the circulation and spread throughout the blood. Immune system aberrantly or over exuberantly respond to innocuous environmental molecule or microbes, but sometimes there is loss of immunoregulation that results in disease.